Hello, this is Keith Singer. In our next segment of Making a Difference, I have a special guest in studio, Anthony Kennedy Shriver. How are you, Anthony?
Good, excellent, thank you.
Thanks for being here with us
My
today.
pleasure, my pleasure.
Let me give you, the audience, a little background on you, though.
Okay.
Anthony's one of the world's greatest entrepreneurial philanthropists. After graduating from Georgetown University, instead of getting a job, he went out and started his own business right out of college, except his business was a not-for-profit business called Best Buddies. And Best Buddies, what it does is it provides adults and children who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, social inclusion, and job opportunities. In 1989, it was started, and with one chapter, now there's almost 1,700 chapters worldwide. There are participants in each of the 50 United States and over 50 different countries around the world that benefit from this organization. Nearly 800,000 individuals with and without disabilities worldwide are positively impacted by Best Buddies volunteers who annually contribute at no cost to the community's support services that equal more than $168 million. So it's really impressive. Anthony, educate our listeners, please, about how Best Buddies is making a difference.
Well, I think it's doing it in a lot of different ways. I think, one of the most exciting things that we're doing now that I'm the most enthusiastic about is our jobs program. The big sort of last frontier, in my judgment, for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities is really employment, solid, integrated, white-collar type jobs where they're making $11, $12, $15, $20, $25 an hour.
Right.
They're almost 80% unemployed in the United States, and it's even higher outside the United States. So for me, it's really, I think it's a national disgrace that you've got this talent pool sitting on the sidelines, unemployed, and ready to go to work and with a skilled labor force. So one of the ways people can make a difference in a big, big way is if you're in the HR department or if you're a CEO or if you run your own business or you're in a business, it makes good, smart business sense to hire a person with intellectual disabilities because they'll become one of the best employees you have. They can contribute in a meaningful way and do a job in a first-class way. And they change really the dynamic and sort of the emotional and spiritual dynamic of an office in a positive way. So not only are they doing and executing on their job really effectively, but they're really changing the sort of the emotional vibe of an office, which I think for any leader of any business, you want to have an environment where people feel good about coming to work. They want to come back to work. They want to stay in that job. They feel proud of where they work. And I think our special friends can contribute in that way. So we're trying to get, corporate leaders, individuals, regular people to really step up, make a difference in a big way, and challenge everybody to hire and have a diverse workforce. And that diverse workforce has got to include people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
I've never heard of any other organization doing that. Are there any other organizations doing
Well,
this?
there's other supportive employment programs that are out there in the community, and some of them do a good job. I mean, our niche has sort of been white-collar jobs, where we really demand that our people are making $12, $13, $15, $20 an hour, full-time work, getting health benefits, participating in pension plans. So there's really nobody that I know that's getting the same hourly wage that we're securing when we place our people in the workforce. And I don't know other people that are getting the kind of benefits that we're getting from the employers. So we got a guy that's working in a financial services company, and if he keeps on this track for the next 30 years, he'll retire a millionaire. And
Wow.
because he's participating in profit sharing, he's in the 401k, full health benefits. He makes about $34,000 a year, which is a lot
Right.
For this population
Sure.
and for historically what's been going on. So, we have a little bit of our niche, but, there's other entities that are out there that are finding jobs, but just not the same quality level jobs.
So one of the ways you're helping is helping them get jobs. What other ways is your organization helping?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm a big believer that volunteer service should be a core part of everybody's life, which is why I got involved in volunteer service when I was a little kid. My parents, turned me on. You gave me a great introduction, by the way, but I think one of the things that many of the listeners might be excited to know is that, my mom started Special Olympics. My dad founded the Peace Corps and the War on Poverty for Lyndon Johnson and so many of the other programs that came out of the War on
So
Poverty.
it's sort of like a family business.
Yeah, but it is somewhat of a family business. But the great part of the family business is if you get into it when you're young and when you can volunteer and you can participate. If your dad's in the legal world, it's kind of hard when you're 7 to go out and start working at a law firm. So I think one great thing about this family business is when my mom was starting Special Olympics, we were all involved.
Right.
So I was literally 5 years of age running around and participating, 7 years of age in Special Olympic activities that really happened in our backyard. That's where it got started. So I think what we're trying to do with Best Buddies, with our school-based program, is to turn people on in the school populations that they can become great mentors to a person with special needs. And by becoming a great mentor and sharing your life with another human being, you can really enrich your life beyond your wildest dreams and really enrich a person with special needs life and turn them on to a whole new world, challenge them to get a college education, challenge them to become employed, challenge them to own or rent their own home or apartment, because they see you doing that in your life, that when you become friends with them, they often are motivated and challenged to do the similar things that you're doing. So our school-based program, I think, is a great way to expose non-disabled people to this population that exists out in our community, sort of been hidden traditionally. But they're almost 7 million strong in the United States, 200 million strong worldwide. And I think when you incorporate diversity in a young person's life, you really transform that person's views and the way they approach everything that they do from that point forward, because they really welcome diversity and they realize that their life becomes more rich and more powerful and more rewarding when you have people of all different backgrounds in your life. Especially if you have children, you want your children to grow up with that sensitivity and that understanding that it's really a good thing for them.
Did your parents teach you that? Did they say it's important for you to be in
Well,
this?
they didn't teach me. They just lived it.
Right.
And I think that's always the best way to do it. I mean, actions speak louder than words is the old cliche, obviously. But, when I saw my parents having someone coming over that had intellectual disabilities, when I saw them working in my house, when I saw them running around my yard, when I saw, my mom training or teaching a person with Down syndrome how to swim. She didn't tell me that, but I saw it, and I saw how much joy and pleasure she got from that, and I saw how much appreciation she got from the person that she was teaching. And the appreciation that people with special needs have when you do the littlest things for them is really overwhelming and makes you feel like $1 million. And we all want to feel good about our life. We all want to feel good that we're doing something positive and we're giving back, and that we're not self-consumed and egomaniacs. So I think it's a great way, to do that, and for your kids to see that, and for them to have that sensitivity and that sense of humbleness in their life. I think is so hard to teach your kids, and I think they can only learn it really by watching it. And I think if they have people with special needs in their life and who get really grateful and think they won the lottery, if you just take them to a movie,
right,
or if you just take them out for the Burger King or for a drink, and invite them over to your house, that's really exciting. That they're not going to get that upset if they don't have the right phone or if they don't have the right car,
right?
Because they see someone that's so grateful for the simple things in life. And I think we all, including me, need to be reminded of that all the time. But I have the grace of God. I have people with special needs in my life every single day. So I'm a lucky guy.
You are. And I was reading your website. It said nearly 800,000 individuals with and without disabilities worldwide are positively impacted by your organization. So I guess what you're saying is not only are the people with disabilities positively impacted, but the people that are volunteering are positively impacted.
Like huge. Like, I was at a talent show at Southwestern High School here, I don't know, in May, and here in Miami. And, it's remarkable because, we have a Best Buddies chapter there, and the chapter organizes this whole talent show. And I was talking to the principal, and he was saying one of the most important things that goes on in the school is the talent show. And it's really transformed the way that all the students in the school, there's about 2,500 kids in the school, that the way that they interact because of the talent show, and the special needs population has brought the whole school together. They all rally around these people, and it's made the school a much more sensitive and compassionate and caring school. And that's happened by the 40 kids that are in the Best Buddies program. But those 40 kids have impacted 2,500 kids in the school. And that's going on all over the world with us. So, it may be 40 volunteers or 80 or 100 volunteers or 200 volunteers, but these schools are huge. And, what's going on with Best Buddies can really have a ripple effect in the whole school and change the way that the kids interact. And the whole issue of bullying is so huge now. I think if you have a chapter of Best Buddies at your school and kids see that, the incidents of bullying go down. And so it's, the exponential impact that I think is really dramatic.
It's wonderful. And most charities, you can give a check. And it's great to support financially different charities. But it's so rare that you actually have the opportunity to personally impact someone's life like you can in this organization. What are some of the ways that people could volunteer? I know listeners are probably curious. Best Buddies, it sounds like a great organization. How could they get involved?
Well, obviously we have a website, bestbuddies.org. And, we have an 800 number you can call. But, I think, you hit it. I think with our thing, we're not looking for the cure. We got the cure.
Right.
And the cure is your time and your energy and you becoming a mentor to a person with intellectual disabilities. And usually, who you're curing is yourself.
What would that entail, becoming a mentor?
Well, you got to commit to at least once becoming a mentor to a person with special needs for a minimum of a year.
Uh-huh.
If you're a school-age kid listening or you have a kid in school, you got to commit to an academic year. You got to make contact with the person every single week. You got to physically see them twice a month. So, it's a little bit time consuming, but you can incorporate that person into your family if you're an adult, or, if the kids are in school, they see them in school or they see them on the weekend. So,
what if I have a 12-year-old son? Can he do it? Is there a certain age?
Yeah, we go down to middle schools. We have middle schools, high schools, university programs, adult-based programs. We launched, as I wanted my kid when she was, 8 years of age to get involved, and it was too complicated to get them actually paired up one-to-one. Right. So we started a whole program called the Promoter Program. And Promoters allows you to have a chapter at your school. You don't get paired up one-to-one for a year, but you can contribute in other ways. So you can raise awareness. You can do a Spread the Word, the End the Word Day, which is a whole movement that we have to teach people the harmful impact of the use of the R word, the word retarded, right. Not to use that. So you can get people to sign a pledge at your school. You can raise money for the organization. You can do a walk at your school. You can invite one of our buddy ambassadors, which is our leadership training program, to come in and speak to your whole school about their life story and how important it has been for them to be involved in Best Buddies and what impact they've had through the organization. So there's a lot of ways that you can participate through a promoter chapter. So, your kid may be 12, or your kid may be 10. I still wanted to make sure that we had a vehicle way which everybody could participate at a different level.
That's awesome.
And they can't make a year-long commitment, but they can do it in other ways, and it can have an impact. And my kid did it when she was 10 at her school, and everybody in the school knew about Best Buddies, and we brought in one of our buddies, and they gave a speech to the whole student body, and they killed it. The whole place was going nuts over the buddy, and everybody knows, and they're sensitive about it. And, we teach them we do a whole campaign around not using the R word. Right. So the school, the kids don't use the R word. I've seen other kids correct people when they may say the word retarded. You shouldn't do that. You remember Best Buddies. So, those little things contribute to the overall movement. You know what I mean? I think there's all different ways. Writing a check is one, but it's not the most important. People's time is huge. And
right.
When you get people to really give their time, they can have a gigantic impact.
Otherwise, you'd have to pay people to provide those services. So volunteering your time is very valuable. So
well, it's valuable, but it's really the valuable to the guy volunteering.
That's right.
I mean, it's really. I know it's a cliche. I hate to say it, but it's really true. Right. And it's really. It's like my buddy. He's had a huge impact on all my kids. All my kids know him. He's been to my kids' water polo games and their swim meets and their basketball games. And my kids are so sensitive to this issue, and just anybody that looks a little different. My kids.
How
long
have you had your buddy?
I got a lot of them. The one I'm talking about right now lives in Miami, and I've been buddies with him for 21 years.
Right.
And I found him his job, and he lives independently now in the community, and he's gone to all my kids' events, from my oldest son now down to my little kid, and he's buddies with my 5-year-old, and comes to the rides with us sometimes, and
right.
But it's been so rewarding for my family to be exposed to that and to see that and crazy stuff he does, or the way he acts, and the way he loves unconditionally, and the way he wants to hug my 5-year-old all the time. It takes time to get adjusted to that. Sure. For the 5-year-old. It scares them a little bit in the beginning, because they're not used to someone that just lays it all out on the table. But it's I think it's really rewarding for them to see it. And
that's incredible. Is there any specific stories you can recall that how you made a difference in someone's life that really moved you? Anything in particular that comes to mind?
Well, it all started with my aunt.
Right.
And, Rosemary, and my relationship with her. And the thing that really moved me with her was that she was so severely disabled, but she had a great gift that she could swim better than anybody in our family. And even though her brother was president of the United States and her other brothers were senators, she had that one gift from God. And that moved me in a way where I always think and recognize that no matter who you meet, that guy's got some gift, or that woman's got something going on there.
Some unique ability.
Something.
Right.
And that's our challenge, I think, as people that have been given many gifts, to figure out what that is. And when you figure it out, it's going to be a great, great contribution to our community and to your own personal life. So her story with me is really the story that resonates the most for me.
Okay. Did you ever think your charity would become so big?
Never, zero. And I had no plan, honestly. So, sometimes people see it and they go, God, I'd love to do something. But, it started so small and no big master plan. And I think anything's possible. And I think anything's really possible when you're young. Because I think young people think everything's possible, and they don't worry about insurance, and they don't worry about all the logistics.
Right.
And they just go for it because they got the passion. If you got the passion and you go for it, all the other stuff works out.
Yeah, I guess you're one example of that for sure. What's next? Do you have any big initiatives or plans?
Well, we'll continue to expand more into Asia.
Right.
We're doing a lot in Asia now, and I spent some time in China and Macau last year, so we're trying to push a lot more into that part of the world, into Japan, into Thailand, and trying to open an office in Singapore, so that's pretty big for us. We're doing a lot more in Latin America as well, which is exciting. Carlos Slim's our biggest donor globally, and expanding a lot into Mexico now.
Okay.
So we've got some good international things going on. But the big thing that I'm excited about, as I said in the beginning, is jobs. We really got to find jobs for people with intellectual disabilities.
All right, well, that's wonderful. And I think our listeners can get in touch with Best Buddies at bestbuddies.org and really help make a difference. You mentioned your uncle was the president and your uncles were senators. Are you thinking of going into politics at any point?
Not anytime soon. It's pretty crazy business, but my brother's running out in California, Bobby Shriver, and I got my cousin Teddy Kennedy running in Connecticut, and we got a lot going on there. So I'm going to stay focused on this for the moment.
All right, so listeners, I do a show called Prosper. There's no better way to prosper than by helping others. This is an amazing organization, and not only can you help others, but the rewards to you are going to be far greater than you could ever imagine. So, Anthony, I want to thank you so much for coming over to talk about Best Buddies, and hopefully our listeners can help volunteer or maybe support the cause. Go to bestbuddies.org.